Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I discuss my last week, mostly in gaming. And of course for this week we definitely have to start with EVE Online because it's been quite a hectic week in EVE. I managed to play a bit more than average, I would say. I was definitely energized by everything that was happening with the war in Nullsec. So all of the propaganda, all of the videos, all of the stories that are coming out of that are very interesting. And yeah, definitely managed to keep me logged in for quite a bit longer than on a normal week. Now I did want to join a few of those battles, but I never really took the interceptor and went over there. So for the battle on the biggest battle, what was it, MO or something like that, where more than 5,000 players were involved, it was just too late for me because I had to go and work the next day, and well, I couldn't really afford to stay up for 2-3 more hours just to try and get a little bit of footage from that battle. Would have been awesome, but I just didn't manage to do that. And then with the latest battle, where I think it was both VFK that was reinforced and another system, I was basically too late. By the time I decided, all right, maybe I should jump in the interceptor, the iHub timer, the first timer was already saved, and you really did start to get the vibe when you read about everything that was happening that the Imperium was not planning like a really major defense going all out against the Money Badger coalition on that fight anymore. So I decided to just stick around within my own system, do a bit more mining, a bit more industry, some more selling, and more preparations for the Citadel expansion. So of course this war is the big news in EVE Online of last week. You've got so much propaganda, a lot of really cool videos that have already been made about this, and even CCP now jumping on the opportunity to basically make World War B a real thing. They added it to the EVE Updates website and they made several scope videos about it. So CCP deciding to take a bit advantage of all of these events to bolster their marketing. I think it only makes sense to do a move like that. A war like this is probably bringing back a lot of veteran players because after the sovereignty changes, I do think a lot of people basically said, all right, we're never going to see really big battles anymore with this soft mechanic, but last week did show that it is still possible to have major conflicts in Nullsec, even with this new sovereignty system. And of course, with making the front page of our gaming, with articles on it, on gaming news websites, you have a lot of new players coming into the game as well. So it's a great time, I think, for EVE Online. On top of that, I'm hoping that all of this has a lot of potential because, well, the timeline for EVE Online in the near future looks really good in my opinion. Of course, we've got the war that's brewing at the moment, but later on in the month we'll have FanFest, and right after that we'll have the Citadel expansion. So that again is going to be a lot of news, a lot of trailers, videos, information that we'll get to digest, and then we'll get to jump into the Citadel expansion, try to work on that, which really has been my focus in the last few months, to just try and get ready for the Citadel expansion, make some plans, and try to have goals ready that I can work on when that hits. Which of course also brings me to basically what I've been doing, just mostly more mining, more industry, more preparations for the Citadel expansion. But on the latest Sunday recap, the one from last week, someone did indeed point to something that I wasn't really counting on, and that is that it takes a very long time to create a blueprint copy for, let's say, a large Citadel especially. That takes up to 12 days or something like that. And so you're not going to be able to pick up blueprint copies for a large Citadel just a few days after the expansion or something like that. And that basically does delay some of my plans. It also means that in all likeliness these blueprint copies will be very expensive, but that just means I have more stuff to work on when the expansion actually hits. So the changes in my own plans are now that I'm probably going to go for a medium Citadel, so the largest type at first. The cost of that for the hull should be around 600 million. It also should attract a lot less attention than a large Citadel right off the bat because there's no market to destroy. The facilities there will be quite a bit bit smaller, but it's, I think, a good entry point, and after that I can keep working on getting the large Citadel fully ready, getting all the fittings ready, and then just starting to keep an eye out for a blueprint copy to become available publicly. It only makes sense that that will take several months. I'm personally expecting that maybe throughout the summer or something like that is where I'll be able to do that. But I think it has its advantages, of course. I think the first large and Excel Citadels are going to become magnets for conflicts, for war decks, for all sorts of shenanigans, and so that'll give me the time to scope all of this out. And just be a bit more prepared, try and find the right place to put down a large Citadel with my own market for the size of corporation that I'm in, and all of that good stuff. So it is looking really good, but yeah, it is something that I hadn't thought about, but is absolutely true. The cost of a blueprint original for a large Citadel is going to be 70 billion, and that is only going to be available for larger alliances or larger corporations. Sure, a lot of those could afford that as well, or very, very rich individuals. But even for us, for Coin Incorporated, we'd have to pretty much sell every single asset I think that we have, and then we may just scrape together enough ISK for one of those blueprint originals. So that's not really very feasible for us, and so we'll need to just be a little bit patient when it comes to that, because of course when an alliance or a large corporation decides to actually make the investment, buy a blueprint original for a large or an Excel, it's only normal that they then have to give the priority to their own members, so that they can first have their Citadels up, have their blueprint copies, do their research, all of that stuff, and only after that will they start to create copies for the general public that they'll make available in contract. So yeah, that is just something that I'm keeping at the back of my mind now. We're probably going for a medium Citadel at first, just scoping out the expansion, and after that working our way towards that large Citadel that I do absolutely want. So yeah, there you go. Exciting times ahead in EVE Online. I'm looking forward to all of it. In the meantime, I also played a good amount of the Elder Scrolls Online. Probably a little bit less than last week, but definitely still jumped into the game every day to do a few quests, make maybe a few videos, and it's managing to hold my interest quite effectively. I'm enjoying this game quite a lot, just playing it as any other Elder Scrolls game, so not focusing on the MMO aspects, not focusing on grinding, min-maxing or anything like that, just playing through the stories. My character does progress quite naturally, and it's just a lot of fun. I think the biggest perk here is that this truly is an Elder Scrolls world, Tamriel, that you're playing in. The scenery is amazing, the atmosphere is great, and what I've found that this game actually does better than like Morrowind and Skyrim, that are still two of my favorite games of all time, is the scale of the regions that you're in. So I clearly remember that last week I did a little bit of side questing, because you do have to catch up on leveling a little bit when you're doing just straight up quests, and I found some side quests in a Kwama mine, which is something that you also encounter in Morrowind, and just the size and the scale of that mine was so much more realistic, so much bigger. You also had several vertical levels that you could go through, then you could look down, yeah, that's where I'm coming from, and things like that. It just made it a really awesome experience for just like 45 minutes of doing 2-3 quests inside a Kwama mine, which in Morrowind was also a very small part of the game, but they've done an absolutely amazing job at the world creation, the quest interaction, the world changing upon your questing, that it's a great experience. And in my opinion, if you can pick this game up at half price the way I did, you're not wasting any money, because you're getting more than enough hours out of this game just to justify the price. And then of course you have all the perks if you do want to jump into the MMO aspects of this game. It's also decently challenging the way I'm playing it at the moment, because the quests don't really give you enough XP to keep up with the quest level, so you're always a few levels behind, but if you're equal level, then it's just a bit too easy, right? You can just blast through all the enemies solo, no problem. If you're a few 2-3 levels behind, then the mobs hit a little bit harder. You gotta be a bit more careful, and you're actually really grateful when there's someone else that's doing the exact same quest that comes out, helps you out, clears a pathway for you to progress in that quest. It just adds a little bit of spice to it. It does mean that from time to time I have to go off camera, do a bit of extra grinding, do some side quests, but those are also really available in a very nice way, in my opinion. I mean, just going through a quest, you sometimes have to do a bit of traveling, and then you can see 1 or 2 villages. After that, I just go back there, I find 4 or 5 quests, a small insulated storyline, again in its own village, its own mine, surrounding its own ruins, whatever you want. Overall, just, yeah, absolutely having a blast with the Elder Scrolls Online, and I'm looking forward to sharing all of that with you guys, because it's absolutely a great game. It surprised me, and I'm very happy with choosing the Elder Scrolls Online over going for Black Desert Online so far. Then after that, I played just a few hours of Battlestation Harbinger. That was actually yesterday evening. Just had a few hours to play around with whatever I wanted. Didn't really have anything planned, and so I jumped back into Battlestation Harbinger. The reason is I wanted to grind out the final levels of your commander. So your account, your commander, your character basically has a level, and the higher it goes, the more ships you unlock that you can start with. And I wanted to see what the final ships were. So I reached level 21, I unlocked the final ship, and unfortunately my suspicion on that did sort of come out. At the end there, the ships you're unlocking just aren't objectively better than some of the previous ships. The only real advantage that they have is that they have more HP and more maneuverability, but their slot layouts are much weaker than some of the other ships, and that really surprised me. And I would say that that is the one thing that I don't like about Battlestation Harbinger so far, is that the grind towards the final levels just isn't fun anymore, because you're not rewarded by them. I think by level 13, 14, maybe it's a bit later than that, you unlock a carrier that has 4 drone slots. And so you can have shield bots, armor rep bots, and then 2 flights of offensive drones or fighters on your main ship, and that just doesn't come back even if you unlock heavy carriers and things like that. All of those have fewer drone slots. That just doesn't make sense to me. On top of that, that ship has 3 hard points for the long range weapons, which is still quite high for the averages. And so in my opinion, that is just straight up the best ship that you can unlock, and you unlock that pretty much halfway through your progression there, maybe let's say at 2/3 or something like that. There's also another ship that you unlock even earlier than that, that has 5 of the red slots of the long range weapon systems, which are really important in this game, and after that you don't encounter anything close to as strong as that. So I do think that while Battlestation Harbinger is, in my opinion, a fun little game, the fact that you can just jump in and out of this, play for an hour to 2 hours, and then you'll have finished another map with all of its challenges, makes it very accessible, fun to play, very fast paced. But the one bad thing that I think is the progression at the end just doesn't make sense anymore. I don't feel the need to use any of the last 6-7 ships when I can have that carrier with 4 drones, or when I can have that assault ship with 5 hard points. It just doesn't make sense to me. And so yeah, that I just wanted to confirm that. I want to unlock the very final ship, which was supposed to be like a heavy carrier. It was very fast, it had good shields and good armor, but its slot layout was something like 2 drone base, 2 hard points, and maybe 8 of the blue ones that you can have to reinforce your defenses basically. And yeah, it's just, in my opinion, way worse than the carrier with 4 drone slots. So it just doesn't make sense to me to pick that ship over one of the earlier ones, and that was a little bit disappointed. But I must still say that this game is fun to play in small stints here and there. If you just want a fun little experience for a few hours, you can definitely push through one of those maps, maybe try out a new weapon system as your focus or something like that. It has enough replayability to make it worth the price, especially if you can buy it at a discount on Steam, of course. And then finally, I also wanted to mention a game that of course I've not played because it's not out yet, but I saw a video on it from Angry Joe, and it piqued my interest. Honestly, it's called Stellaris. It's supposed to be a bit of a mix of grand strategy and a 4X game, and it looks really interesting. So of course it's a sci-fi based game once again, with spaceships, with aliens and all of that good stuff. But it looks like it's got a lot of depth to it, some pretty cool stuff that you can do. You can basically create your own alien race with its own unique attributes, and then you have many different portraits, ship types and things like that to choose from. It's pretty heavy on managing, but it's been a long time since I've played the Civilizations, and so when I saw this video, my brother actually told me about it. Man, this actually looks pretty damn cool. It's already coming out on May 9th. Maybe you should check out the video, see if it's something for you. And yeah, absolutely, I put it on my wish list right away. Stellaris does look like a game that I am that I want to play. Maybe not at launch itself, just because there's so much more stuff that's happening just before May and after May. Of course, the biggest thing is going to be the EVE Online expansion, but then in May we also have Overwatch, we also have Doom. We already have a lot of stuff that I want to cover. So I probably won't have time to play Stellaris at its launch day. But it's on my wish list, and during like a summer sale or something like that, when it is at a discount, I'm 100% going to buy this game. Well, let's say 99%, unless something really bad happens with the reviews or something like that. But it looked really promising. I also saw that they've started a playthrough by the developers themselves, so the game looks decently polished, stable. There don't seem to be any really game-breaking problems with it at the moment. I think it looks really great, and I look forward to jumping into another one of these longer-term strategy games, which I do enjoy from time to time. And now that I've just basically not played any Civilizations in a very long time, this game is definitely piquing my interest, and I'm gonna keep a very close eye on it. And if I do decide to pull the trigger, obviously I plan to make quite a few videos on that, because a game like that is a lot of fun to me, and this one seems to have a lot of aspects that I enjoy. If you haven't heard about Stellaris just yet, I would say do your research a little bit on that yourself. There's several videos on it already on YouTube, and if you like anything like that, Civilization, especially if you're a sci-fi fan as well, then I think you'll absolutely love what you see there. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you guys for this Sunday recap. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.